Hello and welcome to News Central TV. I'm Darshan Usman. Here are the stories making headlines beyond the continent. We begin the news at this time in America, where U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris is riding a wave of voter enthusiasm into the Democratic National Convention that has transformed the race against former President Donald Trump 3 months before the election. The 4-day convention in Chicago begins on Monday and runs through Thursday. More than 4,000 delegates will convene in Chicago to recognize Harris as the Democratic nominee and approve the party's platform. Those scheduled to speak at the convention include former Presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, former Secretary of State and 2016 nominee Hillary Clinton, and many others. Biden is expected to deliver a farewell address at convention in passing the torch to Kamala Harris as the party's nominee for November's election. Ahead of Democratic National Convention, Democratic Senator Chris Coons says he believes the Biden-Harris administration achieved a lot during their term in office. He stated that President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris got passed and signed into law more consequential legislation than any president in his lifetime.
Biden made it clear that he was running for president to restore the soul of our nation. And tonight, 4 years later, it's worth our taking a few minutes to reflect on just how much progress Joe Biden and Kamala Harris made. As someone who spent 36 years in the United States Senate, Joe Biden understood how to build coalitions, how to work across the aisle, how to deliver for the American people. And he and his trusted Vice President Kamala Harris got passed, and he signed into law more consequential legislation than any president in my lifetime.
Let's also tell you that U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris's bid for the White House with running mate Tim Walz after replacing President Joe Biden on the Democratic ticket just a few months before Election Day continues to gain momentum. Now, while there have been questions as to how Harris will fare against Donald Trump this November, most polls have been in her favor. Harris now has a 2.5-point lead over Trump in the latest average of national polls collated by 538. A CBS YouGov poll up to August 16 has Harris at a 3-point lead and shows a substantial gender divide is emerging between the two candidates, with more men supporting Trump and more women voting for Harris. On average, Harris has been marginally ahead of Trump in national polls, though the race remains tight. Joining me to discuss this is a foreign affairs analyst, Olabode Oseni. Hello, Olabode. Thank you so much for joining me at this time.
Good evening, Lagos. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, Olabode, as Kamala Harris gains momentum in the polls ahead of the Democratic National Convention, how will her campaign strategy evolve? You know, what key issues will she focus on in order to maintain her lead?
As we speak, I think this coming November 5 election is going to be one of the most interesting elections in the history of America, in the sense that for the first time we now have, like 2006, when we have a black candidate, Barack Obama. Now we have a black woman, Kamala Harris, who is contesting against Donald Trump. Donald Trump, 4 years ago, was on the saddle. He defeated Hillary Clinton. And this time around, as we speak, everything is going in the direction that the chances of Kamala Harris losing the election is coming to almost zero. So she stands a good chance of winning the election. And what she needs to focus on is the issue of economy and immigration, because these are the two areas where Donald Trump still holds a little bit a lead over her. That American, they still trust Donald Trump on the issue of economy and immigration, but it's not an unsurmountable area for Kamala and her team, because they are working very hard and they are gaining more grants every day. You said 3 point something as you speak. I think she's she's leading Donald Trump now by almost about 4 point something percent poll of poll. So she's making huge progress by the hour.
Hello, Mr. Hosseini, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, so yes, how will the Democratic National Convention influence voter perception of Kamala Harris, you know, particularly when we have high-profile speakers and also a focus on unity and a party platform?
Very good question. Traditionally, at all conventions, when there are two major political parties in America, the Democrats and the Republicans. And every time the convention, usually when they go there with their VIP, there's always a bounce in the poll. So the bounce in the poll when Donald Trump and VJ and Vance had theirs has evaporated. Now it is now the turn of the Democrats, which is going to happen today. The convention is starting today. People are looking forward that by the time they finish their convention, there will be a bounce in the poll, and it's going to make it so landslide that Republicans will start having a view of running it. Yeah, I'm not too sure what is going to happen. Having said all this, another 3 months to go is maybe a long way to go. So the question would be, can they maintain the momentum? The answer is probably yes, because of all the large number of volunteers, the independents, the large number of people who are willing to vote for the first time. These are the advantage the convention is going to bring in support of the candidacy of Kamala Harris.
All right, we'll take a break now, and we'll take that to tell you. All right, we'll take a break now and tell you that former U.S. President Donald Trump is taking his campaign to York, Pennsylvania, where he's continuing with his pitch on the economy ahead of the presidential election. And on Saturday, Trump was in Wilkes-Barre, also in Pennsylvania, about 20 miles away from Scranton, the birthplace of President Joe Biden. Now let's go live now to York, Pennsylvania for the Trump's remarks.
At levels that I don't believe anyone's ever seen before. The 30-year mortgage rate was 2.6%, but it was actually closer to 1.9 if you look at it the way that most people look at it. And gasoline had reached and was basically at levels of $1.87 a gallon, but we had months and moments where it was even less than that. Wouldn't that be nice? $1.87, Gary. That would be very nice. The family likes it more than Gary. Gary's been around too long. The family likes it more. Our economic future had never looked brighter when Kamala and Biden came in. They quickly blew it all up. Destroyed. 350,000 Americans joined the unemployment rolls last month. Did you know that? I keep hearing about their economy. Their economy is terrible. And the inflation is eating everybody alive, and it's been doing that for 3 years. The no inflation, or almost no inflation, it kept going during the early part of this administration, this current administration. But it ended very quickly, and then it went to levels, and so quickly, it went so fast, and it was a shame, and it was all blown up and destroyed, and jobs were lost. A lot of jobs were lost. Our country is doing really badly under them, and nobody wants to talk about it. The media doesn't like talking about it because the Democrats, they really protect themselves. It's pretty amazing. Someday the media is going to become real media instead of fake media, and you're going to see a big difference in the country. Real incomes are down $2,000 a year since she took office. Kamala cast the tie-breaking votes that gave us the worst inflation in American history, costing a typical family $28,000. And under Kamala, we have fallen into manufacturing recession with 13,000 manufacturing jobs lost in the United States since just the start of this year. I don't know if you all know that, but that's what's happened. And it'll happen here, and it'll happen in this plant. It'll happen everywhere if she gets in. If Kamala gets in, the United States will rapidly become a deindustrialized third world nation, like so many others have become. She's running on socialist price controls, banning gas-powered cars and trucks, and private health insurance policies are gone. She wants to defund the police, abolish cash bail. She wants to abolish it immediately, cash bail. She wants to abolish ICE, get rid of the incredible, brave patriots of ICE who take MS-13 gang members, probably the worst gang anywhere in the world. Horrible situation. They take them out, and they take them out bravely. They're strong, they're fierce, and they love our country. She wants to give free health care for millions of illegal aliens and give them all citizenship into the United States immediately. And she then wants to sign them up for Medicare and Social Security. And she wants them to vote illegally if possible. Any way they can vote. They don't care if it's legal or not. And they're signing people up as we speak. They're signing them up as we speak. They don't care. They don't care about the laws. Very simply, Kamala Harris is an economy wrecker and a country destroyer. Our country will be destroyed if she gets in. Her radical liberal agenda ruined San Francisco. It ruined California when she was the Attorney General. It crushed our middle class, demolished our border, set the world on fire, and now she wants to be promoted to the job killer in chief. But much more than job killer, everything else is going to go bad. She set the standard in California. Think of this. If you steal $950 or less, they're going to leave you alone. They can't be bothered. So you see criminals going into stores with a little computer, adding it up, everything they've stolen. They want to stay under the 950, but they don't get prosecuted for above that. The only one that gets prosecuted is somebody who would talk about the unfair election. They get prosecuted. But when you steal and rob and kill and so many other things, when you sell drugs and destroy people's lives, nothing happens to you under Kamala. But we will not let this happen. We're not going to let it happen to our country. 78 days from now, Pennsylvania is going to tell her that we've had enough, that we can't take it anymore. And comrade Kamala Harris, you're fired. Get out. You're not doing the job. Get out. You're fired. While Biden and Harris have been impoverishing our country, they have been getting rich, very rich at your expense. Now, it just came out, just was reported today by a great young reporter, Brooke Singman at Fox, according to a 292-page report from the House Oversight, Judiciary, and Ways and Means Committees in Congress. Just got out a little while ago, just before I got here. I said, no, I want to talk about it just briefly. It's so sad because he's going to be making a speech tonight. And they don't call him Crooked Joe for no reason. They said President Biden engaged in impeachable conduct and said he abused his office and defrauded the United States of America to enrich his family. Republicans revealed that since 2014, the Biden family and its associates received more than $27 million from foreign individuals and entities. They also found that while Biden was serving as vice president, the Biden family got more than $8 million in loans from Democrat benefactors, and they said that those loans have never been repaid. Those are the best kind of loans, aren't they? This report says in part that Vice President Biden actively participated in this conspiracy by, among other things, attending dinners with his family, foreign business partners, and speaking to them by phone, often being placed on speakerphone by Hunter Biden. Republicans are calling out a 2014 dinner that Hunter Biden and his family attended with a Russian oligarch, and they said that after that dinner, that oligarch wired $3.5 million to Hunter Biden's firm very quickly. It was a very quick wiring. I'm sure he worked very hard for the money. Several witnesses testified that Hunter Biden invoked his father in business dealings with Romanian, Chinese, Kazakhstani, and Ukrainian companies, in addition to other companies and people, resulting in millions and millions of dollars flowing into the Biden family. As everybody knows, $3.5 million was sent from the mayor of Moscow, the mayor of Moscow's wife. Remember, I brought that up in the debate I had. I said, why did this happen? And the anchor wouldn't let me ask that question. They thought it was inappropriate, but then it blew up. $3.5 million was sent by the mayor of Moscow's wife to the family. They're also calling out Biden for his handling of classified documents. They said during his tenure as vice president, Joe Biden removed highly sensitive classified documents from the White House despite having no authority to do so. And remember, Comrade Kamala, she knew everything, and the senators knew what was going on. And by the way, I had my own classified documents case, and I was totally exonerated. Totally. It was a case brought by Joe Biden and Kamala. She was involved. They did that in order to interfere with the election, and it still goes on, different cases, but that was, according to most, the big one, and we were totally exonerated. The case was won a month ago. Very little coverage of the case being won, I must say. I think that a lot of the media didn't even talk about it. There's no way someone could have stolen that much money without Democrat senators knowing what was going on. He wined and dined them at Joe's houses. They saw his boats. They saw the way he lived. They saw his beautiful mansions. I would have made billions of dollars in this job if I wanted to play that game the way they played it, but instead I took the job very seriously and very importantly, and you can see from the recently announced financial reports, I don't need the money. And I'm proud to announce that doing and being president, I lost billions of dollars. And I knew that would happen. Maybe not quite as much as that, but I'm satisfied with that because we want to make America great again. That's much more important. We have to make America great again. No, I could have played it the other way. I could have made so much. I see some of my friends over here. I could have made so much. No, I didn't want to do that. This is too important. This is too big a thing. We've got to save our country because our country is really in big trouble. We're a nation in decline. We're going down the drain. The drain is the swamp that you've heard so much about. They get rich, and in Washington, some of these politicians, what they're doing to our country is disgraceful. But he's one of the leaders of the pack. You have others. The number one step we will take to launch a great American manufacturing renaissance will be to end Kamala Harris's war on American energy. It's a war. And you do know that inflation was caused by her cutback on energy. And then what they did is they, in a panic move, shortly thereafter, when the numbers for gasoline, oil, and electricity and everything else that comes from energy and out of energy, when they started going through the roof, they immediately went back to the Trump plan. But what they didn't go back to is my plan would have been doubled, tripled, and even quadrupled from the numbers I had 4 years ago. They didn't do that. They brought it back to a similar, because they were getting just absolutely destroyed by the numbers. It was going up. And you can bet that if we don't win, she takes over, your energy numbers will be triple and quadruple, and you won't be producing a drop of oil. They ended the largest oil reserve anywhere in the world, probably as large as Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has this massive amount of oil. It's called Anwar in Alaska. They ended it on close to day one. They ended it. Ronald Reagan couldn't get it. No other president got it. I got it. And it's bigger than Russia, bigger than Saudi Arabia, most likely. They seem to think biggest in the world. They've been after getting that approved for many, many decades. Ronald Reagan worked so hard to get it, he couldn't get it, I got it. And then they ended it. They were just set to start drilling. Everything was done, and he came into office, he ended it. On day one, I will tell the frackers and energy workers of Pennsylvania to drill.
All right, that was candidate for President of the United States of America, and we're talking about Donald Trump. He has actually said quite a lot, and he accused Biden and Harris of impoverishing the country and getting rich at the people's expense. He called Kamala Harris an economy wrecker and a country destroyer. He made so many accusations, and not forgetting that we actually have our guest in, speaking to us on this in the first place before this speech actually came in, Olabode Hosseini. Thank you for staying with us. So what are your thoughts on everything that Donald Trump has actually said, just in a few minutes? Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Can you unmute your mic?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. You don't need to go too far to follow the events in the electioneering now in America. It's in the public domain that the former president is angry. Is now I don't want to use a word like frustration, because he did not expect. He was riding high in the opinion poll when the President Joe Biden was he was doing very well until when Joe Biden stepped down for his deputy. And as we speak, almost about 33,000 times that Donald Trump has been fact-checked. That most of what he's saying, they are personal abuse, using personal honesty, innuendos, and so on and so forth, attacking. And most of his followers are saying, look, talk to the people about issues, talk about the policies, talk about so on. And many times he has said, well, he wants to do it the way he wants to do it. So he has been a turn-off to most of the Republicans. And the records are there that Nikki Haley and many other high flyer Republican are now saying to him, you cannot continue doing this. The former speaker, McCarthy, and so on and so forth. So most of what Donald Trump has just said now is a personal attack on her opponent. And I'm not too sure how many people are willing to take that on board when they go to vote on January 5. So I'm not impressed as an observer, and I'm sure many people are also not impressed. So it's all campaign of fear. It has not been dealing with the issue on the ground. And like I said, Kamala Harris is turning around, is making a big move.
Indeed, Mr. Hosseini. Now, he's actually been advised countless times to stick to the script and rather than attacking Kamala Harris. But then I wish we actually had more time to discuss, more on this. But we would have to wrap up now. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you very much.
And that's all at this hour. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.